Suivez in cooperation of Burkina Faso for his statement. 2 delegations have asked to exercise the right to reply. I wish to remind members that statements made in the exercise of the right to reply are limited to 10 minutes for the first statement and 5 minutes for the second one, and that delegations are to speak from their seats. For the first statement, I give the floor to the representative of Qatar.
Mr. Chairman, my delegation would like to exercise its right of reply for the false accusations that were mentioned in the statements of the UAE and Bahrain. Mr. Chairman, the international community has developed consensus that Qatar is innocent of all the accusations targeted at it, and innocent and in fact active in combating terrorism and promoting peace. These allegations we only hear from the UAE and from Bahrain. These fake allegations were never substantiated by any credible international party. And these accusations violate international law and international humanitarian law and international human rights law. What is a cause for suspicion is that we find these states that target allegations at us and do not practice what they preach, do not practice respect for state sovereignty and interfere in the domestic affairs of other states. And they, in fact, terrorize civilians and violate human rights and interfere in domestic affairs of other states in a matter that undermines international and regional peace and security. And this has become evident in the repeated attempts by these states to destabilize security and stability in the state of Qatar. They have plotted and financed an unsuccessful coup attempt in Qatar. And today they have implemented a blockade on Qatar, and they continue to lie and lie and lie until people are expected to believe them. And they are using modern technology in their attempts. And the UAE is being used as a platform for financing the greatest terrorism acts of the modern day, and is allowing the perpetrators to escape through its territories. While these states pretend to combat terrorism, everyone knows that terrorism was only launched from inside these countries and from their irresponsible policies. It's regretful that our region has reached this level of plotting and conspiracies. Mr. Chairman, regarding the allegations against my country delivered by Bahrain, this represents a real crisis within the lines of leadership in Bahrain. Instead of solving their internal issues, they are fabricating allegations and holding conferences and projecting a misleading discourse. The results will never be in Bahrain's favor. Therefore, it was necessary to exercise this right of reply. The systematic suppression practiced in Bahrain does not qualify Bahrain to speak of human rights and combating terrorism. Accordingly, Bahrain should better commit itself to international conventions and respect human rights, and must know for certain that solving its domestic issues will not be attained through fake allegations. Bahrain should best comply with the demands to cease to marginalize its own citizens. Unilateral measures that are illegal taken by Bahrain against my country are only undermining regional cooperation, which is one of the most important pillars to achieve peace and security and to combat terrorism. Mr. Chairman, it is ironic that the United Arab Emirates is trying to market itself as an element of stability in our region. It is no longer a secret that the UAE is irresponsible in its behavior in our region, and it is attempting to destabilize important regional bodies such as the Gulf Cooperation Council, and it is disrespecting international law and the principles of good neighborliness. The UAE has become a way to evade the implementation of Security Council resolutions. It has become widely known that the UAE relies on mercenary companies to implement its policies in the region and to use espionage in order to terrorize citizens of neighboring countries. It has also become known that the UAE violates the sanctions imposed by the Security Council, as become evident by the panel of experts report that was established pursuant to a 1973 resolution. That is the UAE's record in the region and on the international stage. Therefore, any sane person knows that the UAE disregards its international commitments and that it is spearheading efforts to destabilize the region in the Middle East and in Africa and beyond. Therefore, it's become a leading party to destabilize and to destroy. The UAE punishes freedom of expression with 15 years of prison. The panel of experts on Yemen has substantiated crimes against humanity by the UAE. And in their paragraph 71 of their report, the evidence is provided. Mr. Chairman, last July, the International Court of Justice has issued a verdict against the UAE because of its discrimination against Qatari nationals and in violation of the International Convention to combat all forms of racial discrimination. The sentence provided for that the UAE guarantees reuniting families and offering opportunities to Qatari students that were affected by the UAE's policies in order to resume their studies in the UAE. Third, allowing the affected Qatari nationals to have access to UAE's courts. Mr. Chairman, this decision by the ICJ is the best evidence against UAE and that reveals its role in the fabricated crisis against Qatar. And it proves the rights of Qatari nationals that have been affected by the UAE's discriminatory policies. I wonder, how has the UAE been respecting the human rights that it is a party to? And thank you, Mr. Chairman.